Good morning, everyone. Today's session, I'm covering AWS API Gateway service. API Gateway is a network and content delivery group service. As you know, that the AWS provides services, and all the services are grouped into various categories. Like computing, we discussed about the EC2 instance and Lambda service and storage S3 bucket service. In the similar way, network and content delivery, we have a VPC, virtual private cloud, and API Gateway is one of the content delivery service which is frequently used by the developers. Basically, it is like a front door to enter into the AWS cloud to access various AWS services. You can use API gateway. So basically, developers use within their code. The code might be running at the client side, or it might be running at the other hosted at AWS, like on-premises or other cloud, or various applications which can use API gateway service that running in the AWS cloud. Okay, let's see few points about what it is. What is a API gateway? Amazon API Gateway is a fully managed service that makes it easy for developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. So API Gateway can be secured, maintained, and monitored and at any scale of the load. Okay, so the service is fully managed. It is ready to use for the developers. All you need is go to the AWS account and go to AWS service and just create the service. And there are so many features like how the AWS service can be used. If your requirement meets, you can use it API Gateway service. Okay, let's see how exactly it works and what are the users. So API Gateway acts as a front door for the application to access the data, business logic, or functionality from your backend services. Okay. In the next screen, we will see a diagram how it works. Make a note of these points. All these points I will show in this session are useful to the examination, and also a starting point to how to use the API Gateway service. So using API Gateway, you can create RESTful APIs and WebSocket APIs that enable real-time two-way communication. So RESTful APIs, REST is the term used in AWS. That means the server-side code. If any Java code or .NET code or any functionality that runs on the server, the application code is on the server, and you may invoke the code that is called RESTful application. And the WebSocket is like a point-to-point communication. A very common example is like a chat window where the both the sides are initiating the communication, like WhatsApp chatting user A to user B. Either way, that can be. REST application is always initiated by the customer to execute the REST application and get the desired functionality or data back to the client. Okay, so these two types of services are supported by API Gateway service. API Gateway supports containerized and serverless workloads as well as web applications. Okay, so you can use Gateway in the containerized application, serverless workloads, as well as the web application that you are developing. So here is a diagram captured from AWS product documentation to get a basic view of how API Gateway works and how it is useful. So in the left side, you see all the sources which can use the API Gateway. One of the client side is connected users and streaming dashboards. So connected users are like maybe users are using iPhone and connected, like maybe a chatting window, or maybe a playing a game, or any app that uses API Gateway to get the information from the cloud, like watching a a movie, like various things from the streaming. Okay, basically streaming, all the streaming that can go, that API gateway can open the door for that streaming process. And API gateway has gateway cache, Amazon CloudWatch. So as you know, that cache is for frequently used data can be stored here, so it can be used for other sessions or within the same session. The data can be used rather going back to the cloud to get the process the data. Okay, so it can be configured, the cache can be configured, and the CloudWatch default is set up with API gateway to some extent. And if you want, you can also more customize the CloudWatch. Basically, CloudWatch is for the monitoring. So you can monitor the API calls, who is calling, what are the sources, and what time the call is taking place, and how much is the load, right? So CloudWatch is useful to monitor and to make it better available for the end users and applications. Okay, so these are the two sides of the services, and the main part of API gateway call is going into it can invoke based on the user requirement. It can invoke the various services passing the data, and you can use the various methods supported by API, like put, get method, and update method, delete method, post method, that can be used to invoke the required service within the AWS. Like Lambda service can be invoked, and you can post the data into a service that is running on EC2 environment, or you can query data from Amazon DynamoDB. You can publicly accessible endpoints. You can AWS API gateway can access the internet to go to some website and get the data. So yeah, it's even private applications that run within the AWS virtual private cloud, or maybe your on-premises data center. Okay. So about the other applications, a web application can use API gateway, mobile application can use API gateway, IoT devices can use API gateway, and private applications within VPC and on-premises can use API gateway. So this private application use API gateway and get the information or process the information in the API gateway. So imagine, so basically this is a door to the AWS cloud services. Okay. So API gateway handles all the tasks involved in accepting and processing up to hundreds of thousands of concurrent API calls, including traffic management, cars support, authorization and access control, throttling, monitoring, and API versions. Okay, so try to remember these words. So this will be useful for the examination point of view. I can cover to some extent what are all this. Like if you see CORS is like a cross-origin resource sharing is a mechanism that uses additional HTTP address to tell browser to give a web application running at one origin. So basically, it's a cross-origin communication. So you have your own web application. Within the application, you are invoking another web application to get the data or post the data. And when you get the data, the browser is going to make a different URL call, and the data has to be published into the master application, which is running in the client machine. So in that cases, the cross origin resource sharing should be supported, and API gateway supports CORS. Okay. So yeah. And the next point is the API gateway has no minimum fees or startup cost, as like many other processes. Not all the processes, but many other resources, components in AWS cloud are with no minimum fees or startup cost. Even though you have a business account, there is no startup fees for your defining API gateway, but the charges are going to be based on the utilization. and you can greatly reduce the cost compared to any other fee, any other similar services. Especially for your on-premises implementation is going to be a lot more expensive compared to the AWS cloud services, what Amazon claims. Okay, you pay for API calls you receive and the amount of data transferred out, and with the API gateway tiered pricing model. So the amount of API calls data is transferred in and out is going to be charged, and you can reduce your cost as your API usage scale. Okay, based on the scale, the cost is going to be reduced. There are various pricing models. You can take a look at the documentation, FAQs to see how the pricing works. So what API gateway supports? RESTful APIs and WebSocket APIs. What is RESTful API? Build RESTful APIs optimized for serverless workloads, and HTTP backend using HTTP APIs. HTTP APIs are the best choice for building APIs that only require API proxy functionality. Okay, so if you are if a API proxy act like a proxy, that a URL a proxy URL you need to configure to communicate with the AWS services, HTTP API is the best candidate that we are going to see in the lab section now. If your APIs require API proxy functionality and API management features in a single solution, API Gateway also offers REST API. Okay? And WebSocket API is like two-way communication, as we discussed, such as chart, apps, and streams dashboards with WebSocket API. API Gateway maintains a persistent connection to handle message transfer between your backend service and your client service. The WebSocket API is an advanced technology that makes it possible to open a two-way uh, interactive communication session between the users, browsers, and servers, as we discussed, right? With this API, you can send messages to a server and receive event-driven response without having to poll the server for a replay. So what are the benefits with API Gateway? Efficient development. So the developers can develop their code more efficiently. No need to worry of synchronizing various services and getting data, invoking data from various other services using API Gateway makes much simpler their life. So the code can be delivered very quickly and efficiently. So even implementation part, the cost is greatly reduced in this way. Run multiple versions of the same API simultaneously with the API Gateway allows you to quickly iterate, test, and release. So you can run multiple versions of APIs. So as soon as you have an enhancement, you can have a different version, and you can invoke different versions in your code, so that you will have the older version for the versioning control. You pay for calls made to your API and data transfer out, and there are no minimum fees or upfront commitments. Okay. Performance at any scale. That this is one of the great feature AWS has. So provide end user with the lowest possible latency for API request and response by taking advantage of our global network of edge locations using the Amazon CloudFront. So you can use Amazon CloudFront and the global edge locations. Amazon has edge locations all over the regions that can speed up based on the location where the calls are where physically user is making a call. So that way end user or the client application can have lowest possible latency. Okay. Throttle traffic and authorize API calls to ensure the backend operations withstand traffic spikes, and backend systems are not necessarily called. Okay, throttle traffic and authorize API calls. to ensure the backend operations. So backend operations don't need to worry about the authorizing the calls and all. Uh, so traffic spikes and all that will be taken care at the API level by scaling up. So backend can be loaded only for the backend process. Okay, cost saving at scale. This is one of the greatest feature of cloud services, any cloud services. So cost saving is one of the reasons why today's computing, everyone wants to go to the cloud computing. And one of the greatest feature of the cloud computing, I would say, is for the startup companies. You don't need to you do a zero investment. You have your own idea or your own business, and you have the your application logic, how that is going to use for your business. You can you can start with zero investment, at least in the computing side. So that is the greatest opportunity here. It's like a revolutionary for the computing side, computing automation side. So easy monitoring. So we have ready-made tools readily available. That is CloudWatch you can use, and which is very powerful and integrated with many of the services by default, and we can customize to a very lowest granular level to capture pretty much a lot of the statistics, and also configure notifications to the administrations or other departments, so that we can ensure that system is running more effectively. Okay, flexible security control. Authorize access to your API gateway with AWS identity and access management and Amazon Cognito. Okay, we will cover this in the identity access management. If you use if you use O Authentic Tokens, API Gateway offers native OIDC and O authentication support. Okay, so I would recommend to review more information about the documentation for O authentication token and what it is, and IAM and Amazon Cognito. So you will get some idea, and that will be useful here for the for this service, how the service works. To support custom authorization requirements, you can execute a Lambda authorization from AWS Lambda. Okay, so RESTful API option is also one of the benefits. Create RESTful API using HTTP APIs or REST APIs. Okay, HTTP APIs are the best way to build APIs for a majority of use case. They're up to 71% cheaper than REST APIs. Okay, HTTP API is 71% cheaper than REST API. Okay, try to make a note of the point. If your case requires API proxy functionality and management feature into a single solution, you can use REST API. This is the theory part that we are covering about the API gateway, and let's see the basic lab session, how API gateway service works with a small example. Okay.